So it looks like Twitch is going to be changing the way they actually deal with people who get banned from channels off of Twitch. And honestly, I'm very excited about this and very happy about this as well because I really do think this is going to change the platform for the best. And honestly, I'm quite surprised that Twitch never rolled out some of these features before because it's kind of like a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you roll out these features before? Because it makes the quality of life for people on Twitch a whole lot better. Who wants to sit down and start streaming and have to worry about things like people being toxic, people being annoying, people trolling overall? That's really not a good vibe to be around when somebody's actually harassing you. So I am glad Twitch is kind of moving into that direction to actually help more Twitch streamers and pretty much help everybody on the platform have a better experience when they're actually on Twitch. So let's head on over and actually talk about some of these changes that Twitch is actually implementing to their service to actually make live streaming on Twitch a whole lot better in regards to banning people from your channel. Now, first of all, let's talk about the things that aren't too important, but are things they are actually changing. First of all, it does look like if you do ban someone outright from your channel, from here on out, it looks like they can no longer see chat at all. That's not really a big deal, but just the fact that they are punishing people much more greater is actually kind of good in my opinion, because that means if you do things like that, it may give people less incentive to actually like be a mean person or be toxic in someone's chat room, because they'll be like, now you have a much more greater penalty. It's not just being banned from the chat room and being able to chat anymore. Now you can't actually see the chat room at all, which is actually great news, because then there's more things that they're getting punished for, which is great. It should make more people scared to actually do things like troll or be toxic in people's channels on the website. And then it looks like you'll no longer appear in follower or chat list, which is actually a pretty good change as well, because the whole reason for banning somebody from your Twitch channel is for the fact you don't want them ever coming back. And if they're not going to be uh, in their followers list anymore, that's actually great. So it'll be less harder for them to actually come back to your channel and actually try to do something with you. So that's nice. So with the implementation of them not being able to see your chat, them not being in your follower list, them not being in chat list on the actual channel overall, this is very good. It just means that the punishment for banning somebody is going to be much more greater than it ever was, and that should pretty much scare a lot of people who are thinking about trolling in the first place and maybe rethink what they want to do when it comes to actually being a toxic person on somebody's channel. And then one of the biggest things that's actually going to make this amazing for banning people is the fact that now it looks like, again, keep in mind, I'm just reading this word for word, so who knows when this is rolling out, if this already rolled out, but this is actually going to be very interesting. And it looks like now immediately they will shadow ban people's IPs, because basically what happens is, you guys know, most of the time when somebody gets banned off of someone's channel, of course what they end up doing is they end up making a brand new account. Of course it is honestly kind of a hassle to go through all the steps of actually making a brand new account. Like, you need a brand new email, you need a username, you need a password, and that could take a little while just to come back and troll the same person, or try to come back and try to apologize, or whatever the case may be. But just the fact that now people won't be able to do that is actually very great, because let's face it, most people actually end up doing that in the first place, because it's all too easy just to make a brand new account. And somebody who's extremely toxic is never truly gone forever. And I wish something was like this, has been like this forever, and I wish more websites would actually implement this, not just Twitch. I don't know how they're actually doing it, but I'm sure it's not too hard to do it, because now with our technology, it's pretty easy to see where people are making accounts, people are coming back. So that is nice that they'll never be able to come back to your channel again and be able to troll you if they wanted to make extra accounts. And of course, most likely people who do end up making new accounts only make new accounts on their home computer or their devices at their place. They're not going to go to like their friend's house and try to set up an account and then try to harass you there. Most likely, they're not gonna do that. So it shouldn't be a big problem. And with all this stuff in place, that should mean trolling and harassing on a website like Twitch should be a little bit less. Like I said before, I really do wish a lot of these different websites on the internet would actually implement something like this, because I really do think this is quality of life improvements that really do help the website and help people on there enjoy their time there. Who wants to have like a bad life, especially for people who don't really enjoy their life and then want to go ahead and relax by doing something like Twitch? They go ahead and do something like Twitch, but then they're always once in a while getting pestered by people, being bothered by people. They just want to sit down, have a fun time with people that they enjoy, that are passionate about the same game, that are passionate about video games, who just maybe want to share their life with other people on the internet. It just really does suck that you had to deal with all these bad people, but now it looks like it's going to be a little bit less toxic when it comes to Twitch chats and Twitch in general, which is very nice. And props to Twitch for actually adding that, because I think these features are very nice. They didn't even have to go above and beyond by adding all these little features, like no longer being able to read the chat, or no longer appearing in their follower or chat list, because those are just little things, and overall those don't matter. But at least they got the big one out of the way. The shadow banning people's IPs, that really needs to be a thing, because there is some pretty toxic people out there. I stream once in a while, and I can admit there are some very toxic people out there who don't deserve to be on the internet, who are just making people feel bad about themselves, making people want to just go off. So it's not great just to try to trigger somebody. So I'm glad they're actually implementing that. Next up on the list, we actually have a brand new processor from Intel, and this one is actually very interesting because it looks like this brand new processor from Intel is going to be a 5 gigahertz processor. More specifically, it says right here, Intel's 10th gen H series laptop CPUs reach 5.3 gigahertz. So it looks like they're going to be laptop CPUs, and you guys know laptop CPUs are generally less powerful than their desktop counterpart, but that's to be expected just because those are low voltage CPUs. Of course, they have to be low voltage CPUs to make sure they don't drain that much battery to begin with, since of course laptops use a battery, and that is nice. Intel's always working on their CPUs, because let's face it, in the last couple of years, of course, you guys know, AMD has really been stepping up their game when it comes to their processors. You guys know a lot of the Ryzen stuff that AMD has been making has been phenomenal. A lot of it has to do with just the fact that the price to performance ratio is extremely good on these processors from AMD. And right now, in general, it really does seem like AMD is really the king of processors, to be honest. And I can see why so many people on the internet actually praise AMD processors, because, like I said, the Ryzen CPUs are flat out amazing. Why do you think time and time again these companies like PlayStation, or these companies like the Xbox, Microsoft, and Sony want to actually contribute to AMD? Just because AMD are powerful processors, and it really does make sense to why they would actually use AMD processors to begin with, because they're just flat out amazing CPUs. But let's go ahead and go over here, and you can see right here, Intel's 10th gen H series laptop CPUs reach 5.3 gigs, and that's obviously extremely fast for any type of CPU. So you can see they're going to have a lot of power. It does say you don't need to buy, I think, an i9 to actually get that. You can get an i7 that boosts up to 5.1 gigahertz. Again, it does say that the i7 processor will boost up to 5.1 gigahertz boost speed. That's not the everyday clock speed. It will boost up to 5.1 gigahertz when you're doing something intensive. So that's very nice. And overall, these look like very nice CPUs from Intel. Are they actually going to be better than something like the AMD processors? Honestly, when it comes to processors, I have to keep it real with you guys. I'm kind of knowledgeable about them, but I don't know everything about CPUs to begin with, so I can't tell you which CPU is better than another CPU. All I can say is this looks like some pretty good CPU stuff that we're working with here, especially when some of these processors like the i9 1080HK is going to hit 5.3 gigahertz. And for a laptop CPU, all I can say is that looks like it's going to be a lot of power to actually be handling 5.3 gigahertz. A lot of times to get very crazy speeds, you have to do a lot of overclocking. But it's nice right out the gate. It'll be able to hit 5.3 gigahertz. Oh, it looks like it might actually be for overclock. It might be for overclocking once you overclock the CPU. But whatever the case may be, if you can even hit 5.3 gigahertz, that's some crazy speed for a CPU. Especially, like I said, we're talking about chipsets made for a laptop CPU. So yeah, just some very interesting news, especially if you're a person that's really into laptops or in computers in general. This is some flat out fantastic news. Now, the next one is going to be about YouTube. It looks like YouTube is actually working on something on the lines of a TikTok feature. I want to say it's a feature. I want to make this clear as well. It's kind of hard for me to to tell you from this article alone. Are they actually working on a TikTok competitor? Because that's what the headline of this article says. It says YouTube reportedly working on a TikTok competitor called Shorts. Is it going to be a separate application where you go like TikTok to actually do your TikTok type style videos for YouTube? Well, I mean, for their platform, of course, that they're working on, or are you going to be doing it inside of YouTube? Because there are some features inside YouTube if you are unaware. Like, for instance, they do have the stories feature, which a lot of other websites have a story feature. Like, for instance, Instagram app has a stories feature, and they pretty much borrowed that from like Instagram, and I think Snapchat chat has it as well. I'm not too familiar with Snapchat, so I do apologize if that's not correct, but I do know Instagram has it, and then YouTube finally followed suit, but they didn't make it its own application. I guess it makes sense to be inside of YouTube, so it's inside of YouTube. But if we go over back to here, it looks like they actually want to be a competitor to TikTok in some way, and I'm not too sure again if this is going to be a individual application or is it going to be a feature for creators inside of YouTube. The way this is worded, it does say YouTube reportedly working on TikTok competitor called Shorts, and if it's called Shorts, it may be its own application, but again, it may not be its own application. I can see this thing being inside of YouTube, but then again, that doesn't make sense because TikTok, I mean, excuse me, they already have a thing called Stories, and Stories is pretty much the same thing as a small like short video, because you just take a little short video for your YouTube channel and you post it as a story if you have the stories feature on your channel. So I would assume it would be a different application altogether that's trying to compete with TikTok. And I can see why YouTube is really wanting to be a competitor to TikTok, because TikTok has gained a lot of popularity in the last couple of years. A lot of people are talking about it. It used to be a thing where they would promote TikTok and nobody really cared about TikTok. It was just a random ass application. But who would have thought years later TikTok would actually become popular? I remember a long ass time ago, I used to see TikTok ads all the time, but I didn't really think of anything about TikTok. A lot of people were like, whatever, it's just another random application that someone's promoting. It's actually funny too, back in the day when TikTok wasn't even popular to begin with, you have to remember that they were doing ads all the time. I'm sure you may have seen them, and it's actually interesting. They weren't popular, so I don't know where they were getting their cash for all those ads that they were doing. Now I don't really see too many ads for TikTok, but I guess it makes sense since TikTok is already like gaining a lot of traction over the last couple of years, and a lot of people are taking notice. I can see why TikTok is also getting popular, because there's no more Vine, and a lot of people like the different style videos you get on a website like Vine in the past or TikTok, because TikTok and Vine were always about making videos that were extremely short, and YouTube was never really about that. And also YouTube was never really about like stupid videos really about stupid videos. Maybe in the early days of YouTube, people were just uploading whatever and they were bored uploading random things. But now, since people are trying to take YouTube much more serious and things like that, the direction of YouTube has really changed, at least nowadays. And it's more about content that's much more longer, more professional, not really that stupid. So you really want to try to get a platform where you can make these very short videos, extremely short, and then you can kind of like do whatever you want and just make a little quick update, just talk about something stupid or do whatever the case may be, and it's very easy to just post them from your phone and things like that. So it's not really too surprised. You see, YouTube sees the success of TikTok and they want to try to compete with TikTok, and they want to try to get those people on board, because it does make sense from a YouTube standpoint as well, since of course YouTube is a platform to begin with that already works with videos. So it makes sense. It wouldn't be hard for them to transition into something like a TikTok style style videos that are just extremely short. And those type of videos, without a doubt, do reach a different demographic than the people on YouTube, because a lot of people who go to YouTube, like me, for instance, I don't know about everybody, but me, for instance, when I go to YouTube, I'm looking for content that's much more longer, that's a little bit more professional than things like TikTok, Vine, a Facebook video, or an Instagram video as well. I'm looking for something a little bit more professional and something that I'm more interested in as well. So yeah, I think it makes sense for them to actually do that, because they'll be reaching a whole different demographic. It'll be good for their brand. They may be able to make more revenue off this, however they want to do it. Again, keep in mind, I did tell you guys, I'm not sure if it's going to be a separate app or it's going to be its own thing, because I tried to read this out and I wasn't really sure how they actually wanted to do this. It said right here though. It says Shorts will allow people to upload brief videos into a feed inside the mobile app, but that doesn't really tell me anything. From what I'm hearing here, it looks like it might be part of the actual YouTube app, so it may just be a feature on YouTube for a lot of different creators. Or what they could do is, instead of putting it on everybody's channel, if they do decide to make it part of YouTube, what they could actually do, they could actually make it a separate tab on YouTube, where like you have like the trending tab, which they used to have. Now it's the explore tab, and then you could have a home tab, a search tab, and then you could have like a shorts tab where you only see shorts from YouTube to actually make people find them easier. The only problem with this actual article is just the fact that it does say inside the mobile app, but that doesn't, it didn't really explain it. They should have said inside the YouTube mobile app, or they should have said they're making their own application. What does inside the mobile app mean? But either way, this is still some very interesting news that they are actually doing this. And then in other news, it looks like Sony, of all companies, is actually back at it again, and they're actually going to be making some brand new headphones. When it comes to headphones, all I can say is Sony does make some of the best headphones on the market, at least for consumer-friendly headphones that most people can walk into, like Best Buy, Walmart, Target, etc., and actually find these headphones pretty easy. And they are consumer grade headphones for the most part. Most of these headphones, honestly, aren't going to be blowing you away when it comes to the sound quality. If you're an audiophile, most likely you're not really going to be looking at Sony. Sony makes all these different headphones. Most of the time, Sony does actually work on headphones that are geared towards noise canceling. They for a while now have been the king of noise canceling headphones. Everyone praises Sony for their noise canceling headphones. I have some Sony noise canceling headphones, not the newest ones, but I do have ones a little like a year or two old now from Sony. And all I can say is Sony, without a doubt, does make some amazing headphones based around noise canceling. If you really need some cans that are going to be good to block out as much noise as possible, they are flat out fantastic. Their sound is pretty good too, but nothing too crazy. Like I said, if you're an audiophile, most likely you won't be impressed by their audio, but it is what it is. But let's talk about some of the new headphones that Sony is actually going to be releasing when it comes to their line, because Sony is always working on headphones, of course. First up, it does look like Sony is going to be releasing a brand new pair of true wireless earbuds. You guys know when AirPods officially came out on the market a long time ago, that's when other companies started to take notice of true wireless earbuds. Of course, the most popular true wireless earbuds on the market, without a doubt, are still the AirPods. You see AirPods everywhere. No matter where you go, you'll always see a pair of AirPods, and that does make sense since Apple really marketed these well, and they were the first one to cut the headphone jack, so it makes sense that everyone was talking about AirPods. It's just AirPods this and AirPods that. But they have other companies making these true wireless headphones, and these true wireless headphones do look pretty good. Now, when it comes to Sony, Sony has already been making a couple of true wireless earbuds. They made some true wireless earbuds that actually had active noise canceling. The only problem is with their active noise canceling true wireless earbuds, they were extremely expensive. I'm talking over $200, and some people may not want to buy these headphones for over $200 since they were expensive to begin with. Of course, you do get what you pay for. You get more features, you get better sound than something like AirPods, you get active noise canceling, which of course the original AirPods, even AirPods 2, which were a redesign or a kind of an update to the original AirPods, never had ANC until, of course, last year. they decided to make AirPods Pro, which then actually brought the functionality of active noise canceling. But it looks like Sony is back at it again. They're going to be making some brand new true wireless earbuds, and these true wireless earbuds look like they're going to cost you $129, and I actually think that's a pretty good price point, taking in consideration how many brands are out there, and not everybody's looking for an option that's going to be over $200 for something that's very small like this. And then you do have to realize with a lot of these true wireless earbuds, a lot of time the battery in these things just aren't that good, so over time they don't last as long when it comes to like how long you can own these things. Like they might last 2 to 3 years, especially if you're using these all the time, every single day for hours at a time. They're just a product that the batteries don't last that long over time. And then on top of that, you can't really change the batteries in most of these because these things are so small. A lot of times you can't open them, or when you do open them, you pretty much just destroy them. So that's another thing that really makes some people not want to spend over $200 for a product like this. But it's nice they're trying to reach a different demographic or different people who may not be able to afford it or don't want to afford it for headphones like that for $129. It looks like they're going to have a 9-hour battery, and that's actually pretty good in this price point for a 9-hour battery, which is actually pretty good. And obviously these are made by Sony, keep in mind, so of course Sony does make some quality stuff, and it looks like they're going to have some let me see what type of features they're going to actually have on there. It looks like they're going to feature extra bass if you're into extra bass. I know that was always Sony's. They had a Sony line that was always based around that. If you're a person that likes a lot of hip hop songs or a lot of like EDM type style songs, they really wanted to try to focus on extra bass, which not every company cares about. So that is cool if you really do like a big thumping sound with your headphones. And a lot of times too, with a lot of Sony headphones, a lot of people said the extra bass was always a little bit overkill. It would actually rattle your head, which I can't speak on since I actually never tried it for myself, but I do think it's very interesting. And alongside that, they last up for 9 hours, which I just said, on a single charge, with battery case getting you another 9 hours for a total of 18. So that's some pretty impressive battery life for these things at $129. They're not skipping on the battery. That's pretty good, and I'm pretty sure like almost everybody will be happy with the battery life of these things. They're not mediocre. And then you got IXP4 water and sweat resistance, which is pretty nice. They also have Bluetooth 5, which is the latest and greatest Bluetooth technology, which is nice. So you should get less connectivity issues and things like this. Now, I have used true wireless earbuds in the past, and what I can say is, for whatever the case may be, even though I had some that were pretty modern in like the last couple of years, and this technology has been pretty great in recent years compared to what it was like 4 or 5 years ago, all I can say is I did have some connection issues where my connection would drop out, or for instance, if I was in certain areas, my headphones would start like making this really like the music inside would start getting distorted. That's because something was interrupting the connection. Of course, when we're talking about true wireless earbuds, you do have to remember that there is a lot of connections that you have to worry about. You have to worry about the connection from your phone, then you have to worry about the connection from both individual earbud, and then not just those connections, you have to worry about other Bluetooth connections interrupting your connections, which you have multiple connections, and just other things in the air floating around that are connections as well that can screw up your connections. So it's not too surprising if any Bluetooth headphones were going to mess up, were going to be true wireless earbuds. That's something you always have to take in consideration when you buy these. But luckily nowadays, for most of the time, you're not really going to have any problem. But you can probably experience more problems with something like this than compared to just regular over-the-ear Bluetooth headphones that are just one piece, just because, well, they only have to really worry about one connection to your phone, sadly. And yeah, it looks like you'll be able to work out an occasional rain. You'll be able to run in sweat and rain. They're not going to be the craziest for that. They're not going to protect you, but if you do need like a little raindrop apparently, or like a little sweat, it should be okay for that. But just don't be dunking these headphones into like a river or into like a pool or something like that, because it looks like they may not actually survive. I like the style of these. They look pretty good. They look pretty subtle. They don't look anything too crazy. They just look like another pair of true wireless earbuds, to be honest. And I actually do like the design here. What can I say? It's Sony. It does have the Sony logo. The Sony logo is kind of big on here, but again, you won't see them when you're wearing them anyway. But it is there if you look on the actual earpieces. They are kind of big. And then they also did release a new pair of noise canceling headphones. Keep in mind, these aren't going to be their flagship noise canceling headphones. They are going to be much more cheaper, so they're not replacing the crazy 1000X M3s or whatever they're called, because those are still their flagship their flagship noise canceling headphones. These ones are going to be a little bit tailored to people who still want some pretty good noise canceling headphones but don't necessarily want to pay for anything too crazy. $199 for some pretty good noise canceling headphones is going to be amazing. Just keep your expectations in check compared to their higher end ones, of course. But you guys know Sony does make some really good active noise canceling headphones. So if that's any indication, you guys know compared to other headphones on the market that are fairly cheap, you're going to be getting some good stuff. And what I can say is, if you never owned noise canceling headphones are almost like a godsend, just because noise canceling headphones really do save the day in a lot of situations, especially if you're a person that travels. If you do end up traveling in the near future, of course, I mean way in the future when this whole epidemic is over, of course, then you really want noise canceling headphones. They automatically pay for themselves, because if you're like in a car all the time and you have to travel a lot, you don't want to hear the car engine, you can put them on and the car engine's pretty much negated. Or if you're on an airplane, negated. Or if you have like a fan in the room, or like a heater, or like a generator running, or something that's just very loud, like maybe construction workers or whatever the case may be, noise canceling headphones are a godsend, and they're flat out amazing. I can't contest to that, and they're worth your penny. You would have got your money's worth. But it looks like they're releasing some new ones for consumers, noise canceling, and the battery life, it looks like running for up to 35 hours. I don't know if that's true, but if that is, that's insane, because even my flagship noise canceling headphones from Sony that I bought a couple years ago didn't even get that crazy of battery. But that is interesting. They are getting up to 35 hours of battery on this bad boy, and it's going to support a whole bunch of different codecs. Or only support AAC codec and SBC codecs, leaving quality. Oh, so it looks like you won't get the best quality out of these brand new noise canceling headphones from Sony. Here's the picture right here. Let's go ahead and open picture right there. But there it is on the guy's head right there. I think Sony already makes some headphones like this in this style at this price point, so it's not really a new design, but it is a nice design. Of course, it doesn't look as premium, in my opinion, to something as their flagship ANC headphones, but overall they're still a very good can. Of course, you can't expect the world for $199, since they do make another flagship ANC headphones with better ANC, more features, better sound quality, and things like that. But for $199, if you need something, then I think this is the way to go. Of course, keep in mind, with anything that's ANC enabled are not going to be the best sounding headphones, without a doubt. That's already pretty much a given at this point. You're pretty much buying ANC headphones for the ANC aspect of them. The noise canceling aspect, sound quality is going to be second. And of course, sound quality does suffer when you have ANC on, compared to a headphone that's the same price that doesn't have ANC. You'll most likely get better sound. But I think also for the average consumer, I think most of these headphones will sound fine to most people's head. They'll be okay, especially since they have ANC. And the nice thing with ANC as well is it does make you concentrate on your music more, just because you have ANC around. So technically, it does kind of make your music a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit more better sounding, just because you don't have sounds around you distracting you when you actually use the headphones. And yeah, I'm just overall, I am actually a headphone person that likes looking at different headphones. Nothing too crazy, but yeah, this is some pretty good news if you're looking for some brand new headphones, whether it's over-the-ear headphones or whether it's true wireless earbuds. Sony definitely got you covered right now with all these different options, which is actually great for Sony. And yeah, that's pretty much gonna wrap it up for this video. Anyway, guys, this is Wayne.